welcome to the Ringer Gambling Show. Friday morning. I don't know why I'm so excited. Just masking the misery of my Cowboys losing a winnable game to the filthy Eagles. More on that in a minute. Let me bring in my co-host, your favorite Ringer Rascals, Anthony Dabbundo and Danny Heifetz. Guys, who gets first billing out of you two? Who's like more important out of the two of you to the Ringerverse?
Dabbundo.
Heifetz has seniority.
Oh, don't do this. Come on. Don't do this. Who is it really? I need to know. I need to know who I list first. It's very important.
Maybe you introduce each of us first on the week, depending on which of our teams is ahead in the Ringer 107.
Oh man. All right. We'll get to that in a second. That 107. My God, it is really taking the nation by storm. But listen, the last thing I want to do is insult either of you. So that's why I asked that question. We have a fun hour ahead. We hope to make you some money by the time you exit the weekend. Ringer 107, as Anthony said, we're going to explain that. Lots of picks, lots of pride, lots of fighting, I'm guessing. We're going to break down the good and the bad in the NFL this weekend. We're going to talk some college, some U.S. Open. The great Michael Irvin will join us. I spoke to him a couple days ago. Very quiet and subdued guy. It's like pulling teeth trying to get him to emote, but I did the best I could. But first, let's hit that game last night. Is it over yet? I don't know. Did they come back on the field? 24-20. Eagles win. They don't cover. Game stays under miraculously. Let's talk about it. Heifetz, start us off here with Spitgate, Jalen Carter. There's not even one play in the kickoff. We're waiting. They're peeling a Philadelphia Eagles player off the field, and he spits at Dak Prescott and gets ejected, evening the playing field, literally. What do you think of all of it?
It was crazy that Jalen Carter and A.J. Brown both got ejected on the first play of the game. It would have been really nice if the Eagles had Jalen Carter and A.J. Brown in this game. That was kind of,
right.
The whole game would have been different.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But I don't know. Was it fair, Dabbundo? Like I'm a Cowboys fan. I loved it. I'm like, oh, this is evening things out for Micah Parsons not playing today or ever last night for the Cowboys. But did you think that was a fair call?
Well, it's tricky because, I'm sitting in a bar in Philadelphia and
Now?
they announced the ejection.
Right.
And everybody's freaking out. Like, what could he possibly have done? So for about 10 seconds, the whole place is in a frenzy. And then fast forward, then NBC had the clip ready. And then once you saw that, it's kind of hard to argue. Like, then everybody's cursing Carter out in the bar. So it was a dramatic and honestly hilarious experience as somebody who had money on Dallas, but was very quietly sitting there, not really cheering for anything, just stoically watching and drinking my margarita. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I feel like the second spitter theory is way overblown now, and it feels like copium for people trying to excuse Jalen Carter.
The second spitter theory we can get to in a second. I will say, you said it's hard to defend. It's easy to defend because it's kind of like, in Dune, when they walk in and just spit on the floor and like it's an offering of wetness. In Philadelphia, that's how you greet people. You just spit right on their solar plexus. True. Like that's just the culture.
Secret handshake. Yeah,
exactly. The second spitter, I will say, I do think Dak spit first.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I also think Dak spit at the ground because Jalen Carter wandered into the huddle on the first play of the game, which is the first play of the season, which I'm like, yeah, you know what? Dak can spit at his feet. That's fine.
Yeah, Dak spit. It was a little dribble, and he had two blockers. I don't even think he even got past the Cowboys.
Oh, he's the guy who's like...
He spit on his own guys, I think. It was
spray. Shotgun.
Very weird, very strange. Tirico called it right away, which is the only good call he made, I think, he was calling Dak Jalen and Jalen Dak the entire game. I don't know what happened to him. But yes, but he knew right away. It's like, oh, he spit on him. Jalen Carter spit on him. I thought it was so bizarre. It's like when hockey players drop their gloves before the game. It's like Jalen Carter, I'm going to get thrown out of this game. And I hadn't never seen anything like that, right?
At least when USA Canada drops gloves, it's because there's like tariffs and saying we'll invade Canada or something. You know what I mean? Like this one, It's like you just won the Super Bowl. Why are you so mad to start? Sal, here's my question for you. How many times have you ever been spit on? Well, I mean, not, maybe in your private life. I don't want to know.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Anyone try to spit on you?
Anyone tried? Yeah. You grew up in New York, right? This is what exactly. It's a rite of passage. It's only. I don't think you can get a middle school diploma unless you've been spit on in the playground. Yeah,
Dabbundo got spit on when Dabbundo got spit on when he tried to change to the U.S. Open in this Philadelphia bar during the Lightning play.
Absolutely. I was walking down the street in England earlier this year, and I had to spit. So I spit to the left, and there was a guy
Good.
walking about 5 feet in front of me, and he heard me and turned around and gave me maybe the dirtiest look I've ever gotten in my entire life.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I
I
was
was on
so offended him by spitting on the precious London sidewalk.
Well, I do think in Europe they actually care about like public health more because they actually have to pay for it, you know. So I don't
Right.
know. I think they just care more. So wait, Sal, but in all seriousness, how are you doing? Because I don't want to be dramatic, but like you probably should have won the game where Jalen Carter got thrown out in the
I was
first lap.
I was thinking about now. I had very, very low expectations going into this game. I thought the Eagles would win like 30-16. The Cowboys would be this, exposed. The coach would suck. But honestly, it's a bummer because they really didn't do anything stupid and they lost. So Sanders fumbles, but he also had the 50-yard run. So I think that's a wash. But otherwise, the coaching was pretty good. Schottenheimer miraculously used his timeouts correctly before half. They ran well at times, right? They stopped the run well. And I think Barkley had like 61 yards or something, 60 something yards. I thought they did good. I thought Dak looked very solid. CD dropped a couple balls. That sucked, but that's on me because I bet him 8 or more catches at plus 182, and he was stuck on 7 before he started putting on that clown display. So
You should have bet
that
8 or
was
more
that.
drops.
Yeah, I know. They don't have that. What's the matter with you, FanDuel? They never want to accentuate the negative. But yeah, there was 41 points. It was a weird game because 41 points in the first half, right? There were no punts on the first 8 drives and only punts on the last 8 drives, I think is what I saw. So
Yeah.
Cowboys, we talked about it, up 7-0. The Eagles come right down and score and then take the lead. I'm like, oh, this has TCU, UNC vibes, right? And 21-20 at half. And I feel like Dabbundo was like a different game after the lightning delay with 4 minutes left in the third quarter.
There just weren't any drives. Like the Eagles only had the ball 8 times. Like
Yeah.
that is crazy. Dallas had 9 drives. Like they didn't have a ton of possessions, and so like yes, it slowed down, but also it was only a couple of drives we're talking about here. So it was weird. I feel like the biggest takeaway I have for this game is that the Dallas offense is still going to be really good this year. And I know that there's a lot of Eagles fans concerned about their defense. I know there's talk about, Jalen Carter and Dak even spoke about this, how they changed all of their blocking schemes and their run strategy because they didn't have to worry about Carter. But
Right.
I just think what we said about Dallas on Wednesday kind of held up, which is that when Dak's healthy and CD's healthy and Pickens is, he showed himself to be a capable receiver, this is going to be a really good offense. And they're going to be able to move the ball on most teams. I don't think it was a great showing for their defense. Again, like the Eagles only scored 24 points, but they only had 8 drives. So I think everything we thought about Dallas is kind of still true. I don't think they're a disaster.
What do we think, Heifetz? I'll sign off on that. It's tough to tell if this is an outlier or not because of Jalen Carter. Like, I don't want to get too excited about the running game because Jalen Carter, the biggest run stopper, wasn't there. And they were just discombobulated for the first 3 or 4 drives. But I do like what I saw. Dak looked pretty strong, right? Their defense, didn't break. They were good. A.J. Brown, we'll talk. You mentioned him, Heifetz, but he was invisible. I mean, Deron Bland just locked them down the entire game. So there were some really, positive things to take from this game for the Cowboys.
I think it's funny that after an offseason of the Eagles fans being like, Jalen Hurts doesn't get enough credit. To your point, I think A.J. Brown was invisible because the Cowboys defense was, we're going to double A.J. Brown basically the entire game.
Yeah.
And we're going to have someone ready to jump any route you throw to A.J. Brown and just make Jalen Hurts go to his second or third read, which is hilarious to say about a Super Bowl MVP quarterback. But that really was what Dallas decided to do. Dallas couldn't get a pass rush. I can't think of a reason why. It's kind of strange. Kenny Clark got a sack, so thank God they got the pass rush there.
Only sack of the game.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, overall, just the lightning delay killed it, and also I just think big picture, the Eagles obviously Jalen Carter's a miss, but Landon Dickerson, the left guard, and Jordan Mailata, the left tackle, kind of got hurt in the same play, and and really that is when I think the momentum on both sides really slowed, and it's one of those reminders that Eagles win the Super Bowl in part because they had, like every other Super Bowl champion, 21 of 22 starters healthy. And that's the thing I want to watch going forward is the left side of their line just not healthy or not? That to me is more important than A.J. Brown being ghosted.
Yeah, I mean,
Speaking
A.J. Brown, he was in and out of training camp too. Like he did miss a lot of time with this hamstring thing, and it seems to be a common thing for him. So, you do wonder. And of course, it's easy to say when he only gets one target. Oh, they were decoying him. I don't know how true that is. I don't feel great about my 50-1 offensive player of the year bet that I made on AJ Brown. I was like,
Oh,
the
wow.
Eagles have to pass more this year. Like AJ Brown, tougher schedule. This is going to be his finally his year. He gets recognition. He's elite, like metrically on yards per route run. Not a great start. No.
You have a case in that he's maybe possibly the most offensive player of the year. Like you're offended by the play. Yeah. So if you could argue FanDuel for that. Yeah.
Jalen Carter
might also
have
the
most offensive player.
That's true. Yes, exactly. By the way, should they replace Dean Blandino? Is this spitting thing going to be a thing all year? Like should the Hawk Tua girl replace Dean Blandino as a rules analyst?
I was hoping that
kind of thing.
If they have a
come back
kicking
into the world,
if they have Jay Feely doing kicking stuff, they should have Hawk Tua girl on the sideline.
That's true. Yeah. Analyze all the spitting. All right. Sour grape section here. The freaking tush push. I hate it. I get it. Probably if the Cowboys were doing it well, better than everybody else, I wouldn't say a word, but it's not football. Also, it was spotted completely wrong. Everybody got excited about the chip in the ball this year. Oh, there's going to be a chip in the ball, so we're going to know wherever. It's like, no, it's the same schmucks spotting this ball. So it doesn't matter with the chip or anything else, but they got it wrong one time. One linesman was completely like a yard off from the head linesman who was coming in and spotting the ball. It's like, it's not a football play. I'm sorry. Like when they analyze it in the off season and the winter meetings, it's like, well, the injuries are not up. Like, yeah, don't forget about that part. It's not a football. You might as well use a golf ball. Are we going to use a golf ball to hike it on 4th and 1? Should they use hockey sticks?
I agree, Sal.
Like, I don't know.
Not a football play. I can't believe they have people hit each other during a football play. How ridiculous!
And push.
Shoving during a football play. It's like golf.
Heifetz, why was it banned years ago? I need a history lesson on this, Dabbundo. Why was it banned and then brought back?
I try to be a forward-looking person, Sal. We can profit off this. Figure out which teams are implementing the tush push in the training camps. Bet on those quarterbacks to score touchdowns. Well, there's a lot of buzz with Jacksonville. I'm on focus on the future because I am so tired of litigating the tush push. I just think it's, eventually it will get banned. That day is not yet. And so at least one more year of it.
I did run an emotional hedge bet through this. I bet Hertz over 12.5 touchdown runs, and I'm off to a good start with two right away.
And they weren't even pushes; they were scrambles.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
My favorite MVP bet was Jalen Hurts to win MVP, just because people get bored, and I just am like, well, if the Eagles win 14, 15 games, people are going to be like, oh, maybe Hurts is the MVP, and that was kind of a start weirdly last night. But I have so many tush push thoughts, but I feel like it's a little rude to do it to you after.
I don't care. I want to hear it. I just
they only
don't think
ran
it's
it
a
what?
football
They ran
play.
it what? Twice?
Well,
Three times?
They ran it twice. Yeah.
Why is it not a football play?
Well, it wasn't a football play 25 years ago, and then they just brought it back. But it's also doesn't resemble a football play. It's rugby. It's fine. It's if you want to play rugby, that's what it is.
It's the origins of football. This was like all football plays derived off this. This was the origins of football 100 years ago, and all the history of football is the derivations built off this play. Maybe that's anyway, but also
let's talk about what's wrong with football 100 years ago. If we played that brand of football, you and I would not be talking on YouTube right now about it. But
we'd be previewing the U.S. Open semifinals tonight.
Let's do
fireside chats.
Polling still illegal. Pushing fine. Like all right, I'm good with it. But I have the over 12.5. I'm happy with that. Are there any futures bets you guys would jump on right now, or are you like, oh, I wish I had that. Now that we saw last night's game,
Raheem made this point on the I think it was maybe Monday when we were talking about Dallas, and he said I'm taking their over, and he made the point that you could wait till they lose on Thursday and then bet their win total over.
Interesting.
And that is exactly
All right, let's
what
see
I plan to do. I don't know that it'll be up right now. It's up.
God bless them. They have all of them too. Like you can go from 3.5 to 11.5. FanDuel.
So
good job
what's
by
over
you.
7.5?
So 6.5, 7.5 is right where you are. Over 6.5 is minus 140. Over 7.5 is plus 120.
Yep. So I'll hop
tough
in.
Schedule. You're going over.
Yep.
Insurance.
I think they're an 8 or 9
win.
The
Eagles marked as a win. Who's picking that and has the Eagles week 1 marked as a win? I totally.
When you do the Mad Dog bet, you're like loss, win, loss.
Right.
Yeah. At Philly, the Eagles rarely win in Dallas. That they've been splitting this rivalry with the exception of the Cooper Rush year last year for years. So I feel like Dallas is pretty live to get him back on the comeback game, and I'm not as high on Washington as I think a lot of people are, and so I think they could beat. They could split with them. 3-3 in the division, like they just scream 500 team to me. Where they are a somewhat discount Bengals, and we talked about this Wednesday. the
All right,
defense
I
is
don't
going to get a
mind
lot of
that.
stops, but they could beat anybody, and they could
What'd
lose
you
to
get Jalen Hurts at for MVP? What kind of odds?
It was 20-1, but now it's down to 14-1.
Oh
So at
wow.
that point,
Oh
you might as well
yeah.
leave it.
Wow.
So
I'll sell that shit right away. Yeah, I think you can.
Only
14
one
But,
pass
in the
completed
chat,
beyond 8 yards.
if anyone's in the
Pretty
chat
wild.
wants my MVP Hurts pick, just let me know. Name your price.
I'm trying to think what other like props or I mean let's just go to the fantasy end of it here. Heifetz, I'm gonna ask you point blank. Who would you rather have? Javonte Williams or Christian McCaffrey?
Well, I will say one of them probably is going to play this season.
Right.
And seems like Javonte Williams. It's the McCaffrey thing. It's funny. My actual answer to the Jalen Carter spitting in Dak's face thing was I felt nothing because I saw the Christian McCaffrey news like 2 minutes before, and it was like a flashbang grenade hit me, and I just couldn't feel anything. I couldn't see anything.
Right.
The McCaffrey thing, I think I'm like the dumbest person alive. I took him in the Ringer Fantasy League. I literally bet Christian McCaffrey parlay with a Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown.
Oh wow.
10 minutes before the news broke about McCaffrey's calf.
Oh no.
I have never felt worse in my entire career about a thing because
Really?
unlike other things, this one, now that it's happened, I'm like, why did I think that guy would be healthy? So we'll see. Maybe he won't be out for the season. But
What kind of exposure are you talking about with McCaffrey this year?
Oh, barely any. Just every league that matters.
And you gave it out, which is worse. Like someone should be able to spit on you, right? Multiple times.
Well, usually I charge for it, but I think I'm gonna have to give some.
Okay.
freebies.
All right.
DK and Craig are not letting you live that one down.
Yeah.
No, neither am I.
Because that was
But
your guys' big hit last year was like, do not draft Christian McCaffrey. So you
And then
tried
I
to
was
be
like-
like this.
I
You
tried to
tried to be
zag
the
back.
sharp guy who was like,
Yeah.
buy low.
And it worked with Saquon because the year Saquon came back from his injury, we were like, don't take him. And then the year after, we were like, take him. And now, and you know what? Whatever.
Fantasy
Yeah, but
football's
it's
dumb.
not the same. You know, it wasn't.
Do you have
the-
Brian Robinson?
No,
Yeah,
Craig
you got
does
the
that. He-
backup.
Craig was like, I have a friend who might want this trade. And it was my team. And I was like, I hope you go to hell. So
He
anyway.
didn't go number one overall. It's not that Christian McCaffrey that you gave out, right? It was a later first round and whatever. If you get 12 amazing games out of him, then probably still good. Let's talk about this 107 thing. Let's get off of that stupid Cowboys game because I hate it so much. This Ringer 107. Now, Bill Simmons came up with this idea, and he has 5 competing shows. Is it 5 shows? It's 5 shows competing. Each week, we pick 5 games, right, against the spread. And then there's the playoff games, and it somehow adds up to 107. Although I'm not sure that's exactly right. I think we're going to find out late that it's like 113 or something. But anyway, there's 5 teams. Now, Dabbundo, you and I are a team. We're calling ourselves the Handicapos. That's pretty good.
I feel like
Pretty good.
we were tossing some names around, and
Yeah.
you came up with Handicapos, and I didn't even think twice about it. That was too
We
easy.
wanted to lean into the Italian thing and handicap it. It kind of all worked out. Heifetz, you had the choice of being on the Handicapos or staying with your highfalutin fantasy friends, and you chose the latter, right? Team Ringer Fantasy is your name?
Yeah, well, you guys are the Handicapos. You got the Italian mob thing going on. I'm Jewish, so I'm not quite in the family. I'm like a consigliere, but I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not exactly.
have a
I'm not in the
kinship.
family meetings. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I think Jews are kind of like wannabe Italians. It's like the nervous Jewish mothers and the food. Italian food's so much.
Hyman Roth worked out great for him. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But no, I am happy to give my very dumb, bad advice on your guys' picks if you want. I'll give
Okay.
my
Yeah,
grades.
absolutely. We'll go through those in a second. I just want to hit all the team names. Team Ringer NFL. Who's that? The bundle.
It's just Shield. It's a one-man team.
Oh, he's won. Oh, he's doing it. Wow. Okay.
Solo.
Now it
All
should be
right.
said, Shield probably. I mean, I don't know. I know Simmons did well on his over/unders, but Shield might. He's probably has the quote-unquote belt if we did this last year. 'Cause
Interesting.
His picks were incredible.
That's
last year.
right. Even he came on the Ringer pregame show and knocked it out of the park. Okay, another dumb name, but perhaps the dumbest team name of all is Bill Simmons and Joe House, who's on the Wednesday show with us, Dabbundo. And that team is called Team Bill Simmons. I love this. House, I got it. I got the perfect name for us. It's Team Bill Simmons. Now, nothing's going to be as clever as the Handicapos, but can you give it 8 seconds of thought? House has got to be there all year. What
Yeah,
happens there?
House is cooked. No representation. Taxation without representation. For
Oh
Joe
my
House.
God.
Well, he lives in
Time
DC.
in.
He's used to it.
He's a DC guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. Team Bill Simmons. Good luck. All right. So let's go through our picks because they're all posted, right? We have to get them in by like Thursday afternoon. So there you go. But let's do our picks here. And yes, Heifetz, you can comment on that. Start us off, Dabbundo. Seattle plus 2.5.
Yeah, I like Seattle plus 2.5 against San Francisco. I think there's a lot of turnover for Seattle, right? The Sam Darnold situation, the Clint Kubiak offensive coordinator transition. But all the reports out of Seattle are that the install of their offense went really well. And I think there's some real buzz again for the Seahawks after the deflation of just barely missing the playoffs last year. 10-win team, that only 10-win team that didn't make the playoffs. And yes, there's offensive line issues, but we saw last year, at least in the first couple weeks of the season before everybody else got hurt, that the New Orleans offense was able to scheme around some of their offensive line deficiencies. And Derek Carr was like the walking on water for the first month. So I feel like Seattle, compared to the San Francisco team, which with the McCaffrey news now, like Ayuk not playing, McCaffrey, who knows? Juwan Jennings was in and out. Some people think it was like a fake injury holdout type deal, but he might not be 100%. So you're looking at a bunch of injuries across the San Francisco team, a whole new defense. They're turning over a ton of pieces on that defensive side of the ball. And I just think there's a really like high market rating on San Francisco in general. And I get it to a certain point. They ran really bad last year, but I think Seattle's a team that I'm looking to bet on early in the season. So I like the Seahawks at home.
Did you pick against the 49ers? How long after Heifetz touted McCaffrey as his number one superstar of all time did you make this pick?
Well, they were actually the second team I bet in week one. So,
there
and one of the other ones you bet is one you bet. So
yes. All right. We'll get to it. Yeah. Heifetz, what do you think of this selection in general? I think it's time for Seattle to, regain their dominance at home. And what a time to do it then against possibly McCaffrey-less 49ers.
I mean, just locking in an anti-Niners bet as McCaffrey gets on the injured list, like that's just good value. I think it's hard to drop a point since then. I think it's smart because, I mean, in the simplest level on the defensive side, I think week one, we always forget the offenses usually suck in week one. It looks a lot more like the post-lightning delay than the pre-lightning delay of that Thursday night football game. The Seahawks, very few teams have a good secondary. Like if you just go through teams, very few have a good secondary. Seattle does. Very few teams have a good secondary and a good defensive line that can stop the run and get after the passer. So the talent on Seattle's defense is there. Mike McDonald also has the kind of system that year one to year two goes from good to elite. At least that's what happened there in Baltimore. And so it's frankly, I kind of wonder if the Seahawks defense is a top 3 defense when we look back at the middle of the season. And then the offense, if they're really counting a ton on the coordinators on both sides of the ball to elevate the team, but I kind of just think it's going to work. I do think that they have massive coaching upgrades on offense, and then the players will get the system more on defense. So I like this one a lot from you guys.
All right, there you go. Yeah, I'm looking at it. And by the way, Heifetz, you said this line can move. It already moved. Seattle now plus 1.5. Good job by you, Dabbundo. Nice job. I think that's a win. I feel like we should be. Is there a cash out option where we take like 3/4 of a win because we already gained a point, which is phenomenal in one day? This is really good.
Sell the point back to them.
We're locked in to 2.5, or use the point somewhere else. Yeah, that's good. All right.
I took a visit to the CLV merchant. He has a little corner store down from my apartment, and
nice.
I cash in my CLV with him after I lose all my bets.
Okay,
has never gone well, but sometimes he feels bad for me.
Is that the guy responsible for turning the channel in the bar?
Yep.
Or no? Okay, he's a
my tokens are good for that. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Cleveland plus 5.5. We're locked into home against Cincinnati. I know everybody hates Cleveland. I don't like them either. I think Cincinnati is going to be good eventually. They're going to compete for the division, and the Browns will end up being lousy. But this is a 2-pronged attack here. Division dogs 24-7 against the spread in the last, I don't know how many years that is, like maybe 5.
Since 2010.
Since 2010. Oh, since 2010. Oh, I saw 37-15 the last 11 years. So 24-7 is the better number. That's A. B. Zach Taylor sucks. Absolutely sucks the first 2 weeks. 1-10. 1-10 in the first 2 weeks. So I get it. Cincinnati's better. Everyone's happy. They got Jamar Chase, number 1 fantasy, right? Heifetz, Higgins. You load up on Burrow. You got all these guys. Points. Over the last 3 seasons, here's another thing. Total points in Bengals week 1 game has been 43, 27, and 26. All hit the under. So if you like the under, you like the underdog getting more than 4 here. Since 2022, every Bengals-Browns game has gone under the total, 6 for 6. This is 23-19 written all over it. Flacco, I think, keeps this one within reach. What do you think, Heifetz?
We talked about this one too. Craig kind of was like, this is a rat line for a lot of the reasons you mentioned. My concern was the Bengals absolutely have started slow, like Joe Burrow and 2. Like they just always are digging themselves out of an 0-2 hole early. But I also think it's just super related to Joe Burrow's never had a normal offseason. So rookie year was COVID. The second year was recovering from a torn ACL, and then he had like appendicitis, and then he had like this elbow thing and a calf thing. Like literally, this is the first year he's ever just practiced.
Is it though?
It is.
Yeah.
Last year,
game 1, right?
Last year was the most he'd ever practiced in August, and it was 2 out of every 3 days, and that was by far the most. He has just not been at camp. He's certainly never played the preseason as much as he did this year. So I actually am not worried about the offense. I kind of was wondering if this line is representative of maybe a little more confidence in the competence of Joe Flacco as the Week 1 Browns quarterback. The divisional stat you have bothers me, but what we ended up doing was, instead of the spread, we actually, this is stupid, but we moneyline parlay just the Bengals to win this game with the Cardinals to beat the Saints. That was kind of where we ended up going. So maybe we both end up doing it, but we kind of just couldn't. I agree, it's a lot of points to lay in a divisional game, but we're like, we can't bet on the Browns in Week 1.
Well, as far as an eliminator pick goes, I think that's what you're getting at too there. The Bengals get eliminated every week 1 and 2. So it's that, stay away from that. But yes, that's one of the sweetheart picks for an eliminator pool. Bengals over the Browns. I like taking the points here. All right.
Real quick. I got to hop in here. So this game happened last year. The Bengals were in Cleveland. Actually, we watched, all of us watched the game together in LA. Bengals closed -5.5 in Cleveland against Deshaun Watson.
Right.
The Bengals took the opening kickback for a touchdown.
Right.
From that point forward, the score was 14-14. The Browns had 113 more yards. They had more yards per play, more first downs. This Browns defense, even when it was a shell of itself last year, still had success slowing down this Bengals passing offense, and I think that's a major part of this. Like, they can't be worse than they were with Deshaun Watson, with Joe Flacco. And the one scary thing, Heifetz, I hate to say this, I was at the barber shop yesterday getting my hair cut. My barber parlayed
great, by the way,
in Cincinnati.
I don't like that. Your barber can come on the show. He can be on the Ringer Fantasy.
What did he do? What
he parlayed? We were talking about bets, and of course he said, I like Saquon, Jalen to score, Eagles to win parlay, which actually he hit, so good for him. Yeah. But then he said he likes Arizona and Cincinnati on the money line, both to win. I said, aren't you worried that they go 0-2 every year? He goes, yeah, man, but it's the Browns. I said, all right.
Yeah, no, you can't think like that. You can't think like that. By the way, I talk to my barber all the time, and that's why I'm wearing a hat this and every day on this podcast, this live show. All right, Giants. Oh, I'm sorry. This is yours. Green Bay 2.5.
Yeah, I like Green Bay. I bet Green Bay before the Parkinson trade. I added more after it, whether he plays or not. I think this is a huge advantage for Green Bay on continuity. Green Bay is bringing back pretty much everybody from last year's team. Meanwhile, Detroit is replacing both coordinators, and they're still a super talented team. I'm not so down on the Lions relative to I think the doomsday scenarios that people have thrown out about how this could all go south. But we have seen teams that switch coordinators, multiple coordinators on the same offseason, kind of struggle early in seasons. And so I think that's a potential thing for the Lions here. And to be honest, with Parsons in the lineup, I have Green Bay rated as a better offense. I have Green Bay rated as a better defense. And they're at home, and I'm only laying 2.5. So I like Green Bay. Go Pack, go.
All right. I didn't have a great feel for this. I gave this your pick. This is fine. Sure, division game. They should win this at home. I just have to get off Green Bay because everybody loves them now, and they have my favorite player. So, but what do you think, Heifetz, for Green Bay -2.5?
Fantasy show, we actually locked in the other side of this. We locked in
plus
2.5.
Wow.
Because
betting Dan Campbell is the most profitable venture you can ever have in sports. So
I don't disagree with anything you said, Dabbundo, and I am extremely receptive to all the reasons the Lions could get worse this season. The injuries, the coaching losses, the offensive line diminishing, the defensive players recovering from injury. But we also honestly, our conversation was very short. Out of principle, the Lions are getting points. And I do need to see the Lions be worse until I will turn down the Lions getting points.
Fair.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Divisional dogs, by the way, would be, Detroit would fit that trend that We tend to
Yeah, I
like
don't.
one, but it is a little different when it's one of the
I
best teams in
guess.
the league.
And if it goes from 1.5 to 2.5, I'm not too crazy. I don't go too wild about that. All right. My second pick, I gave you three Dabbundo. I took two this week. The Giants plus 5.5. In addition to that division rivalry thing we gave you, Giants at Washington. Underdogs of 5.5 or more points, 13-2 against the spread, and 9-6 straight up in weeks 1 through 3. This is last year alone. I think this Washington team is old. Sorry, Joe House. I think they were very fortunate. We can go through 5 games last year, which were they could have been on the other side of a win. They should not be laying a number this big against the Giants this early. Russ was decent early on last year, and he didn't play till like October. But when he did, he went to Washington, had 3 touchdowns and a 93 rating last year with Pittsburgh. So Giants, I feel like they're going to win 6 or 7 games, but I feel like they're going to cover 12. They're that kind of team. There's hope, Heifetz, is what I'm saying. And there's especially hope on Sunday, plus 5.5. What do you think?
I agree. This was the closest we came to picking a game that we didn't end up locking in. But I mean, I agree. It's what you said about the home division, or not home divisional dogs, but just like divisional dogs. I mean, kind of like the Packers Lions. I forgot to mention this, but I think the Packers are 1-6 in their last 7 games for Green Bay. I don't think Washington has covered the spread versus the Giants. Like they're 1-10 trying to beat the Giants by 6 points in their last 11 matchups. Like it's just not a thing that's happened. And I know Washington hasn't had Jane Daniels that whole stretch, but that period covers the worst stretch in the history of Giants football. And Washington's covered the spread like 1 time in the last 5 years. So the only part of this, frankly, that makes me a little nervous is that maybe the Giants pass rush gets there and Jane Daniels is just, one of the better quarterbacks you will bet against on the slate. I don't love that, but generally speaking, we've seen that week 1 is an extension of the preseason, and generally speaking, defensive lines are going to dominate when it's an extension of the preseason. So I am surprised the line is so big.
Yeah, and Jaden Daniels could take over a game by himself, and that'll suck for this pick and everything. But I like this. I like this. And I was saying, Heifetz, I wish FanDuel would put out a number where you could bet how many games a team will cover. Because I would bet over 10.5 for the Giants, right? But I would not, of course, do that for their win total, right? I think that's right at 6 or 7. All right, Dabbundo, finish it off here. You picked that Sunday night game, Baltimore minus 1.5. We went with it. That's our 5th in our Ringer 107 picks.
Yeah, the biggest line move since the summer, by the way, was toward the Giants. They were as high as 7.5 in the summer, and now it's down to 5.5. If you think the Commanders are going to be really good this year, you should put your money where your mouth is, because you should be insulted that they're only 5.5-point favorites at home against the Giants. But sometimes the market's trying to tell you something. And in the case of the Commanders, I do think that's the case with that one. I went with Baltimore as my 5th pick. 1, because we couldn't use the Thursday night game, so that was out. But 2, I just don't like the way this injury report is trending for Buffalo. I mean, everybody is out on their secondary. They're cycling through safeties. They're losing defensive linemen. It's a major question mark as to how they're supposed to play defense. And I almost feel bad for Buffalo, because it seems like they've been snake bitten with defensive injuries every single year for the last 4 years. But here we are, and Baltimore's showing up to this game full strength. Look, the Ravens' last football game was against the Bills, so we have a pretty good comparison of a market to compare it against. They closed a pick 'em in that game, but what was different? Buffalo was much healthier defensively in that game, and Baltimore didn't have Zay Flowers. You add in Flowers, you add in maybe a little revenge factor for the fact that they did have their season end there. Also, don't hate a look if you want to get crazy. Like, will Mark Andrews be a part of the offense maybe a little more as they try to make up for the fact that he kind of blew the playoff game for them? Very possible. So I think this is a great Baltimore spot for them to run really all over Buffalo, and Buffalo's defense doesn't look like it's going to have a ton of resistance. And we've seen this total get bet up as well, 51.5 up to 52.5. It is by far the highest total. I don't mind Baltimore team totals either, but I think Baltimore money line is the way to go.
Yeah, I thought about this. This theoretically, I know I can't do this. We're in this. I have to have money on it, but this would be one I would like to just sit back and watch. It would be fun, but I have to have some kind of skin in the game. And this is weird because both teams. I know it's the injury concern, but both teams are projected for 11.5 wins. So why wouldn't the Bills be giving points if not for some of these injuries? It's just so this Baltimore, KC, Baltimore, Buffalo, KC. It's always like a toe in bounds or Andrews dropping the ball at the goal line. It's so close. The margin is so close. But I endorse this pick because I think it's a rat line. And I'm going to swing the rat by its tail here. Baltimore minus 1.5. What do you think of this, Heifetz? And then we'll get your thoughts on the game in general. But I have Tyler Bass as a kicker in Buffalo. In this one league, you can't do ad drops until the Wednesday after week 1. What do you think of that rule in general? And just Mika, I mean, I'm never going to take 2 kickers. So this kind of happens to me every year or every 2 years. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's kind of harsh to not be able to make. When was the
I know.
draft? When was the draft? Was it Wednesday before the season?
It was Wednesday. It was Tuesday. Yeah.
Not letting any ad drops before is pretty harsh, but I guess
Yeah.
there's nothing you could do. That's kind of, I mean, it's not Bill. Can I make fun of the commissioner or is it Bill?
No, he's not the commissioner. He is in that league, but whatever.
Well, that guy's crazy.
You wouldn't draft 2 kickers, right? If you
No.
were in a league like that, would you just roll the dice and just see what happens? He might still play, but anyway, what do you think of the pick?
I agree with everything you guys said. The thing I would add, and I would humbly suggest, because you do Ringer Wise Guys Sunday morning at, I forget exactly the time if you want to plug.
I think it's like 2, 3 o'clock or something. I'm not sure. We'll check with our producer, Jack.
During the games.
8:30 to 10, 11:30 to 1, right there on YouTube.
My addition to what you're saying is that Derrick Henry to alt rushing yards, if 125 yards or more, is 4-1. Last time they played Sunday Night Football, when they played last year in week 4, I believe, Derrick Henry had 199 yards. So
That's
Derrick
more.
Henry,
That's more, you're saying.
So,
yeah.
I mean, not Derrick Henry and Saquon are my favorite alt rushing guys. Derrick Henry 150 plus is 9-1, 175 plus is 17-1. I mean, we're talking about Bills defensive linemen being banged, Bills defensive players being banged up. Like the Ravens, the Ravens want Derrick Henry to get 200 yards. So,
Right. All right.
The first meeting last year, he did have the 87-yarder to the house in the first play. It was a statement run, and Buffalo did a decent job on him in the playoff game. But again, Buffalo had all of their best run stoppers healthy for that game. They do not for this game.
I think a Derrick Henry ladder of 80 yards plus could be the best bet of the week.
Look into Derrick Henry props. Let's hit the game tonight. Chiefs -3 and 46.5. Simmons said this line on Sundays, like, that's going to 6. They got that wrong. I don't see it. I think it's going to
6.
Well, he guessed 6.5 or something, but he's like, they got that wrong. So, I mean, you would think he'd just be all over the Chiefs if he's getting 3 free points here. Chargers may actually have fans for this home game in Brazil. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't like picking against the Chiefs. I know it was profitable in February, but 13-0, their last 13 as a favorite, 11-0 in 1-score games. I'm going to go with a player prop here. Kareem Hunt over 6.5 rush attempts. I'm taking the coward's way out. Plus 102. He did this in 13 of his last 15 games. He's had 7 or more rush attempts. So there you go. What do you guys think of this game? Dabbundo?
So I think the handicap to this game is, which unit do you think is more fraudulent / likely to figure out their issues? So the Kansas City offense with, Rice still out, rookie left tackle, all the uncertainty that comes into this. But also we've seen Andy Reid have a lot of success in week 1 before. He usually has some kind of new wrinkle, some new thing we haven't seen, some new gadget, play or trick or scheme to throw off an opposing team that the defensive coordinator hasn't seen. That's the big kind of hinge of this game, because on the other side, we have a Charger defense, which was pretty sound. They tackled well. They did a decent job of taking away explosives. But if you go look back through some of the data on that Chargers defense, it does not hold up to scrutiny. I mean, every good team they played torched them. CJ Stroud couldn't throw for 150 yards all year. Then in the playoffs, he throws 300 on their heads in like one half of a playoff game. We saw the Chargers struggle with Tampa down the stretch. Denver moved it up and down the field on them. So I think there's I have this Charger defense on fraud watch a little bit. And you throw in that the field conditions, like if it's a slip and slide again, that has to favor offense. We talked on Wednesday. My wild pick was Mahomes to score at 6-1. I think that's a good look. I also think that, you could convince me into like a Chiefs team total over or some kind of a Chiefs scoring thing. I have not bet it, but I feel like that's a concern I have for the Chargers defense when they play competent teams.
Heifetz, our producer, Jack Wilson, sent us this from FanDuel. He is not to be trusted, but I'll read it anyway. These are the most bet props for the game. Game specials. Each team to score 1 or more rushing touchdowns and 1 or more passing touchdowns in each half. Yikes. Game specials. Isaiah Pacheco and Amarian Hampton to each record 10+ rushing yards in each quarter. Xavier Worthy, Ladd McConkey, and Travis Kelce to each record 10+ receiving yards in each quarter, and each team to score 1 touchdown and 1 field goal in each half. I don't mind that one. I don't like when you fraction it off into quarters. You have to get very lucky that your team even has the ball for like 4 minutes.
And lightning delays, sometimes there's 5 quarters.
Right.
It's complicated. So
yeah.
I think of those longer style shots, I know you didn't just mention it, but Isaiah Pacheco scored 2 touchdowns is 13-1. I know that kind of messes with your Kareem Hunt bet, but I do think Pacheco's the lead back here. And I mean, he broke his leg last year and tried to come back, but I do think
He
he's
wasn't
going to be
healthy.
the lead guy. I agree with you. What you guys are saying. I'm not gonna lie. When we have to start talking about what size spikes they have to wear and the cleats and what cleats they brought to Brazil, I feel like I hit the water's edge of my ability to comment on a game, which is like the turf for these fields. Until I see it be something, I feel weird. But I agree with what you're saying. My only note to Bundo is I agree with what you're saying about the Chargers defense and the Chiefs' ability to game plan in week 1. Some coaches are better at it than others, and Andy Reid's great. My issue is it's still Khalil Mack versus Josh Simmons, a rookie left tackle. We can hear all the reports we want to hear about what an incredible acclimation Josh Simmons went from maybe not being physically ready for week 1 to he's great, but at some point it is going to be Khalil Mack against the rookie left tackle. And I don't, in that moment, want to have money on the Chiefs, but I also am not betting against them, so I would stick to props like Pacheco and stuff. I don't really want to touch the line.
At what point do we lean into, like, Cousin Sal, you have your special, the Steelers losing at halftime. When do we get the just every week Chiefs to win by exactly 1 to 6 points? Do we just do that every week? Do we come out ahead?
Well, it's funny. We call it the Steelers special. I think the Chiefs have actually been more successful with that, losing at half and winning the game, except it doesn't pay the dividends that it would with the Steelers. But yeah,
right,
you're
they're
right.
not rated as high.
This is it. Like if you want to, you could say it's the refs or whatever else. They put themselves in a position to win almost every game with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And
Sal's still paying for. I mean, Harrison's going to Oregon because Sal figured out the live Chiefs line in 2018 before anyone else.
Very close. Archie's going to Oregon. We don't. We'll get that. We'll get that right. We don't know each other well enough.
By the way, I heard
you don't let me meet your family in person.
I did hear Simmons say that you and House on Wednesday are like my uncle. So do I have permission to call you Uncle Sal for the remainder?
Whatever you want to do. Yeah, a lot of people called me Uncle Sal inadvertently, or maybe on purpose. But yeah, whatever you want to do with that.
Uncle Sal.
Hey, talk about Unc. I had a great chat. We're going to take a little break here, but it's not a break because great chat with Michael Irvin earlier in the week. The playmaker and I discussed a number of things. We got deep into the documentary he was part of, and here's a portion of that interview. We're going to play it. Dabbundo is going to take a second shot at a haircut. We'll be back in 9 minutes. Watch me and Michael Irvin. All right, we are back with one of my all-time favorite players and guests. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champ for the Dallas Cowboys. He is a national champ for the Miami Hurricanes. He's a 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver and the MVP of the new documentary, America's Team, A Gambler and His Cowboys. You can catch him on his podcast. He's got his own YouTube channel, The Playmaker. Still making plays, number 88, the great Michael Irvin. What's happening, Michael?
Man, everything's happening. What's best about everything that's happening? What's on my chest right here, and what we saw the other day with that Miami Notre Dame game, and the coach we got, Coach Cristobal, a young man. I'm just so happy right now. Sal, the game was insane the other day. And remember this now. Remember this. Miami opened up against the team that was in the championship game last year. And they beat them.
Right.
Dallas opens up against the team that was in the championship last year. Maybe God just gave me a little prelude to what's about to go down on Thursday.
I know what you're doing. All right, I'm going to have to take that smile away for a second because we'll go Cowboys, then we'll go back to Miami. I promise I'll have you happy by the end. But, I was excited to have you on as a couple of weeks ago. I was like, oh my God, this guy was the MVP of that Cowboys documentary. Then I was like, I'll have Michael on. I'll talk to him about that. We'll talk about the Cowboys season, could go either way. Micah Parsons will sign. And then our beloved Cowboys go and trade him. And I was shocked and you were shocked. Are you any less shocked 3 days later?
I am not any less shocked. I listened to his agent speak on First Take, and I'm more shocked because the agent's coming out now, and I guess they probably have had so much backlash because they don't even know the power of Cowboys Nation. He came on and said, Michael wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. He wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. Then everybody's telling you did a great job. And to move that number from a perceived 41 to a perceived 47 is great. You didn't do Michael any favors by moving him to Green Bay, even for that jump that's perceived. I thought they should have gotten something done. Both guys should have put down their egos. Jerry Jones and Dave Mugalato. I don't want to disrespect me. I just don't.
That's all right. Yeah.
Mugalato. They should have put down their egos and given the client what he wanted. The client, both sides, and that's what Michael wanted. I know that's what he wanted, but they convinced him, and now he's over there. So I'm happy for him, but I am still shocked by it.
The timing was very bad because you probably could have gotten more from Micah in March. You probably could have gotten more from him last year. You probably could have gotten more for him 3 weeks from now, if you think about it. Or Micah would have been itchy to play. He wouldn't have been wanting to cancel those paychecks. $4 million at a time.
But see, his agent came on today and said exactly that. His agent came on today and said, no, Michael wasn't going to miss any games. And we made that perfectly clear that we had to. We would play on Michael's not going to miss any game. And I was like, I wrote down notes. I'm gonna tell you something. I wrote down notes because I'm gonna talk about it later on my part. In the locker room, I wrote down notes. You know, he said there was a leadership meeting that turned into a contract conversation. I had heard from Jerry that Michael called them when he was coming back from vacation. David said Jerry called Michael or somebody from. All of these things are getting thrown out. What I'm saying, the first statement he gave was today, Michael really wanted to be a Cowboy. We all know he grew up wanting to play and how much he loved the Cowboys. You don't got to say any more to me. That was your job to get that deal done right here in Dallas. So I'm just saying I'm sad by that.
Not to mention he has to live in Green Bay now, so we don't have to. That's another thing. I don't know what kind of price tag you put on that. I want to talk about Jimmy Johnson real quick. You said, and this made me sad. This is probably the saddest part of the documentary for me. You said after you retired, you know, you had the horrific neck injury and everything, and you talked it over with your family, and yet you said you would have stuck around for Jimmy Johnson, and that upset me because that tells me you said you still had it in you, but you were being held back because you felt it wasn't worth it unless you were playing for a great like Jimmy. You remember what I mean? That must have been just impossible to rectify in your head.
Absolutely. And I stick on it today. There is no difference. You guys don't even understand the power that Coach Johnson and what he did for us. I mean, when he came into Miami, Jimmy was just not about football. Jimmy was not just about football. I mean, he was about football, but he works the man. Jimmy made us all meet every Thursday night to talk about what we are doing after football. I had gone to 5, 6 other doctors, and all of them told me, no, you can't play, you can't play. One told me, Michael, what do you mean? You had stenosis. You've always had stenosis. You can play. Now is the risk only because you know you have stenosis and a hit could be dangerous. But you can certainly play. And if Jimmy was still the coach, no doubt in my mind. I told my wife, she was like, baby, you can't put us through that. We'll be too worried about you. If Jimmy was still the coach, we ain't having this discussion.
I do want to talk about his team, your team, Miami. You were there the other day. Wow, my God, just like a little boy jumping around if they had a helmet that fit you, I think you would have been the 12th man. That would have been flagged, would have been personal fouls for 3 hours. But how exciting is that for you? You feel like a 20-year-old again. It
is, Sal. You know, man. And here, we have history. We have history. And I told those guys, I said, man, I just appreciate you guys receiving me in as family, because we always talk about the family of the U as us against the world. And I go back every year. I speak to the kids. I'm there with the kids. And I believe, I'm telling you, Cousin Sal, we're ready to take this thing off. We're ready to make the step. The University of Miami. And what I would say back to like we used to be, I'm just saying this is the new normal.
I'm looking at this now. There are even odds to make the playoffs and 3-1 odds to win the ACC.
At 3-1 to win the ACC, at 3-1 to win the TNF championship.
You're thinking down the road here. 25-1 for the Natty. That's your number, huh?
25-1. I put down 100, we get 25.
I'm going to give you a free bet for coming on my podcast. Is that, I mean, you could have done anything for that.
That's my bet right there.
That's it? All right.
Right there. Dude, yeah, that's my bet. That's definitely my bet. That's definitely my bet. You put that
I love it. One more thing. I just, I thought maybe your free bet would be offensive rookie of the year. Do you like any of these receivers? It's been a couple of years since a receiver won rookie of the year.
I want to be Travis Hunter.
It is going to be Hunter. Yeah.
It's going to be Hunter just because the kid is so smart and he's so quick. He's going, I guarantee you, he'll have enough picks and do some things with them once he gets his feet wet.
All right. I like that. This is for offensive rookie of the year. I just don't know how many snaps. You get a coordinator in there. It's maybe he's tired or something. It's almost beyond his control.
But see, that's because you're on defensive side. See, but his biggest thing is they have to do something with Trevor Lawrence.
That's true.
He's the best receiver they got.
Yeah.
He's the best receiver they got. So he'll be able to play that game.
All right. One more thing. Back to the Cowboys. I'm going to ask you point blank, Michael Irvin. Will I still be alive the next time the Cowboys win a Super Bowl?
Yes. Yeah, you'll be alive in February.
I will? In February?
Yeah, you'll be all right. You'll be alive in February. Don't worry about it.
This February?
You'll be alive in February. Don't worry. You'll be alive in February.
I walk 1.5 miles twice a week. I hope I am alive in February.
That's what I'm saying to you. You trying to say, I'm trying to let you know here. Hey, I'm letting you know this thing right around the corner. All you got to do, if you get to 32 points a game in this league, you can get to a Super Bowl. And the Cowboys, the last, prior to last year, they were averaging 29, 30, 31 points a game. You bring George Pickens on here, it's going to be an offensive show because Michael Parsons has left. But you got something right there. And I want to see what it looks like on Thursday.
Okay. All right. I told you, listen, I knew we'd end smiling here. I don't know. I think you might be a crazy person. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. And all crazy people are later on, when they're the only ones found out to be truthful and found out to be right, then come the word genius. But only the depth that you dig me down will be the height that I rise when you find out that I ain't so crazy. He's genius.
Well, no one's going to call you crazy when I have to write you a check for $2,500 after the U wins the Natty in January. Michael Irvin, his very own YouTube channel, great podcast, The Playmaker. You made my week, Michael. Thanks for coming on, my friend.
Always, girls. Always, Sal, man. You're my man, man. I appreciate you. Always, buddy.
All right, there you go. The great Michael Irvin. You can see that full interview on YouTube right here on the Ringer Gambling channel. I asked Playmaker, guys, if I'll live to see another Super Bowl. You heard him. He said yes, because it's happening in February. If I'll live to see the Cowboys win another Super Bowl. And he said, yeah, because it's happening in February. I don't know what is more optimistic, that the Cowboys will win a Super Bowl in February or that I'll be alive in February. What about you guys? Danny, do you think I will live to see another Cowboys Super Bowl?
I don't think you have much time left.
What's the diet and exercise looking like for you these days, Sal? How are we feeling?
I told them straight out. I walk almost 2 miles twice a week. So there you go. That's what
back
you have
and forth to
the
fridge.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm not even counting that. Yeah. Well, no, but honestly, no. When do they win next?
Well, Jerry Jones probably will pass on in the relative near future, right? Based on how that works. So
I think that's true.
I feel like once that's moved on from, I would say within the next 20 years they should get one. So I'll say yes, you're alive.
God damn, this is so.
You and Simmons are going to be doing guest the lines. That's 75. So
at least in February, it's according to Michael Irvin. All right, listen, we're going to move on to a segment we call Handy Clipping. Now this is interesting. This could either work or it could not work, or it probably won't work. But we're going to take viral video clips of the week and news stories. We're going to show them, and then we're going to set bizarre odds. You can't bet on these. Our friends at FanDuel said you have to make sure people know that you can't bet on these. I think it's common sense, but we will show you, and we'll assign odds, and we have some time to kill, so let's do this. So let's run this clip of TCU, UNC, Monday night. UNC is getting slaughtered, and Coach Bill Belichick's very, very, very young girlfriend, Jordan, interrupts him on the sidelines. We all saw it a million times, and there were a bunch of jokes made. First of all, I don't think this could keep going on. Look at this. She's walking up to him. So here are some odds I laid on what she was actually asking him for or talking to him. Odds that she was asking for some money to buy a foam UNC finger, 6-1 odds. Asking for his password to get Candy Crush on her phone, 17-1 odds. reminding him that he had to be back at the convalescent home by 11 p.m. plus 250. Asking if he recorded Phineas and Ferb 4.5 to 1 odds, or bragging to him that she went potty by herself plus 350. Do you like any of those Heifetz, or are you like going off the board?
There's no chance she's going to the bathroom by herself in that game. So I think the Phineas and Ferb is where I would lay my money. She might be a Bluey gal, but no, I mean, I think that's definitely, I mean, all the kids just want to watch more TV these days. So I think that's a good value there, plus 450.
I have two alternate theories. One, asking for Sonny Dykes' phone number, TCU head coach.
Right.
Two, auditioning for the role of Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side 2.
Interesting.
Scene when she goes down to the field and tells the coach to run the ball.
Yeah. Why was there never a Blind Side 2? That seemed like such a no-brainer.
I feel like
you have a sequel where
he's problematic.
Where he sues the family for. There you go.
I love it. Kind of artwork. Yeah. By the way, it would be Sonny Dykes' grandfather anyway. It wouldn't be Sonny Dykes' phone number, but okay. There you go. All right, Dabbundo, you have. Oh no, I'm sorry, Heifetz. Yours is next. Go ahead. This is MJ and LT hugging.
So yeah, I mean, Michael Jordan went to this UNC game for, Chapel Bill, Lawrence Taylor, all the great UNC players came out. Michael Jordan's there. We get word that his private jet was tracked leaving in the middle of the game. And so I wanted to ask you guys, UNC's next game is at Charlotte, which I didn't know had a football team. Michael Jordan lives in Charlotte, North Carolina, like miles from the stadium. I am setting the odds at 40 to 1 that Michael Jordan attends the next UNC football game, like 5 miles from his home. Sal, do you like the odds at 40 to 1 that Michael Jordan attends the next game?
I do. I think I joked about this somewhere. I'm not sure, but I think even though he watched his team get slaughtered, he probably made like 50 grand off of Lawrence Taylor setting up a golf date the following day. So yeah, as long as it's a moneymaker, I think he'll show up. I would take the 40 to 1 odds. Dabbundo?
3 football games in 1 week feels like a lot for Michael Jordan, because I don't know if you guys saw, but he was a special guest.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts, this like weird social relationship that Hurts and Jordan have now since the Super Bowl. He was at that game too. And I know like Charlotte to Philly, those are both American airline hub. Quick flight for Michael, a little, maybe he'll be flying next to Michael Jordan, but I don't see him going to 3 football games. I am not taking the 40 to 1.
I think 40 to 1 is fair. That's a good number, though, Heifetz. All right, Dabbundo, you have this tennis. You love it. I'm surprised you weren't involved in this scandal, but tell us what we're about to see here, this clip.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty, moment after a match where, the tennis players are often signing merch and signing stuff and giving it to players. And this CEO guy, hops in and decides he's just going to take it from the kid. And then there was
they gave a hat,
quotes.
Right? It was a hat.
It was a hat.
Given?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so there's a lot of fake quotes that were circulated about the kid, about what the CEO said about the kid. But the real thing is that he did eventually apologize. My fake odds are over under 1.5 CEO scandals from now until the end of the year. We've already had 2 big ones in the last 2 months.
Right. Coldplay.
And I'd argue this is actually worse, if you think about it, than the guy cheating on his wife.
I think it's not worse because you have to think about it.
Right. It's easily worse.
Wait, what? It is worse or it isn't worse?
No, I think it is worse.
Well, I guess we're in the era where all PR is good PR. So in a way, they got, this guy needs to get Gwyneth Paltrow to be his spokesman too for his company. She needs to do the apology. I don't know though. I don't know. If he's a good CEO, if he's taking candy from babies, like he's probably well equipped to run a company.
Right.
Maybe.
That's true.
Right.
Although Polish CEO, they're a little bit more friendly in Europe.
Yeah, but they should probably give him a raise.
I would say that's a good, I would say over. By the way, CEOs probably have a sweet deal in their man caves, right? They probably have 175-inch screens. Like, just stay home if you can't behave yourself. But I'm going to say, I'll say over for the CEO scandals. It's a good one, Dabbundo. But I'm also going to place an extra one over under 3.5 weeks before he's hired by Barstool. So there you go. I think he lands on his feet, on his very Polish feet. That's going to be good. Let's do this because Heifetz, I know you want to talk about this to no end. The Sunday Ticket. We heard now they're going to have ads. Now, it's 2 minutes out of 7 hours of programming. So everyone's like, relax, and it's only in 15-second spurts. But you're on fire with this. You hate it.
For some people, 2-minute spurts is plenty of time. That's a long time for some people.
There you go.
It's, some people can't even go the whole 2 minutes, but
right.
I do love just throwing out a ton of money for an ad-free product, and then there being ads. Can I tell you the real truth? I've thought about this. You're too old for this, Sal, but Dabbundo, have you seen Big Mouth?
How dare
Where he's
you?
kind of like sleeping.
I
at
know
things.
Big Mouth.
I have seen it. I
So
wouldn't say I can reference it, but I've seen it.
Well, the dirty truth is everyone's mad about it online, and the NFL has decided all you filthy, disgusting pigs are going to get Sunday Ticket anyway. And not one. I want to find the one person who's going to not purchase this product who did last year because they added the ads. I want to know who the person is, and I think you're going to do it anyway. And it's not just. I think the NFL thinks they're going to do it anyway. ESPN is just the patsy here. They're the Lee Harvey Oswald making this decision when it was Roger Goodell.
I have a friend who said he can't boycott the NFL, but he will be boycotting any product or company that advertises during Red Zone.
Good luck. Yeah,
that's what I did. Yeah. And I said,
that's good.
And I said, oh, so if FanDuel advertises, you're not going to bet your part. He's like, well, we'll see.
And so, and they are smart, and they're smarter than any of us, Heifetz. But so it's 2 minutes now. Next year it'll be 2.5 minutes, and they'll just, by 2030, we'll be missing half the touchdowns. But I had a good over/under for this. What they promise, oh, don't worry, you're not going to miss any touchdowns, as if they have any control over that. Like there could be a 75-yard touchdown, although I guess that's not technically in the red zone. But I am saying over/under 1:37 Eastern time PM before we miss a touchdown due to an ad.
Under. It's the way the world's going. It's going to happen like 12 minutes. We'll miss the first touchdown of Sunday, probably.
I'm going over. They'll still show you the touchdowns. They'll plan it around. They get.
Well, the whole thing's scripted anyway, so
right.
I forgot about that. I forgot about the scripted part.
But it'll be nice though, because we're on the path to 8 hours of football-free commercials, which that will be the nice thing eventually when we get there in 2030.
Yeah.
That's how I feel watching most of the primetime games now.
There you go. Yeah.
Sal,
as long as they catch a lightning storm.
Over/under on minutes you watch Red Zone, because I know you're anti-Red Zone.
I hate it. You can get on me for Big Mouth not knowing it, but I do know. But I think it's a cheap. You should grow up and watch a game the man's way. Actually put eyes on the game. You get to see the flow and everything else. I just don't like the red zone. When we had, what was it, Wellness Week or something? What do they call it?
4 week. Yeah.
4 week.
That was when I knew
out.
Sal was my guy when he went to bat for no red zone.
Everybody wanted red zone on the giant movie theater like projected screen there. And I was like, no, I almost started to cry, and I reached for my keys because I was just going to go home. But no. They do nice things now for you. They give you a 4-box. You could have other screens. You have all different iPads and stuff. Do it that way.
That is also the day I learned that you actually write down all the bets you made on Sunday with a pencil and paper and just look at it on a piece of paper. And
it's not a pencil, it's a pen. It's a uniball pen. I'm not a maniac. Yeah, it's a uniball pen.
Well, if you write them in pencil, you can erase them and then change what you wrote down, so you feel better about your bets.
Yeah, the cross-ups don't seem as meaningful. All right, listen, U.S. Open, Dabbundo, you're our guy. You were there like 11 out of the last 12 nights. We have some lines for these. Sabalenka in the women's final Saturday, -225, +184 if you like Anisimova. Or for the semis, you have Alcaraz -360, +280 for Joker, and Sinner or runaway. I mean, this is as high odds as you'll see in a semifinal match, I think. -3,500, 1,280 for Felix Auger-Aliassime. Is that how I said? I don't know.
It's so close. Auger Aliassime. Yeah. Felix.
Yeah. What do you like out of those, or do you just like Sinner -160 to win it all right now?
I've had an incredibly successful year betting tennis because I've been betting chalk all year on the men's side. And I really don't think I've seen anything that's going to change that opinion with these two men's semifinals on Friday. Djokovic and Alcaraz, Djokovic did beat him in January, their last meeting, but Alcaraz was in much worse form then, and I think Djokovic was fresher. What we've seen is that Djokovic gets to the end of these tournaments, and he just doesn't quite have the legs to go, the full against Alcaraz and Sinner. And I think that's a problem for him because Alcaraz right now looks as good on serve, dialed in on serve, as he's been really all summer. So I think Alcaraz is in peak form right now. And so Alcaraz -1.5 sets. You could do a parlay of that with Sinner -2.5 sets because, let's be honest, there's only 2 men in the world that have beaten Sinner all year long. And he has barely lost sets in these matches. He's only lost 1 set in this tournament. Alcaraz hasn't lost any. It's been pretty uncompetitive, and it's not a great look for the sport, for the men's tour, that the same 2 guys are just not just beating but dominating everybody. So I just think that continues today.
You know, I want to look at that because you just advised Sinner -2.5. What I'll more likely do is take Sinner -1.5 and then just bet it with 17 gigantic college football favorites on the money line. So I'm going to look
There you
into
go.
that, but that's something else. All right. Heifetz, you have anything to say about this? Yeah, I mean, I agree. Not only doesn't he have the legs, Djokovic, but he doesn't really have the feet. Blisters all over the place. Disgusting. Like 16 toes at this point.
He's watching the K-pop Demon Hunters movie for his daughter. But no, I mean, it's just funny to me that all we heard about the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic era was, we'll never see this again. I'm like, well, this looks super similar, actually. Kind of happened immediately. It's kind of like Tom Brady. We'll never see it again. And then Mahomes made 5 Super Bowls before he turned 30. I'm like, oh, this is actually a lot like that was. So it is funny how the greatness does just arise on time. But no, I mean, I watched the entire careers of those Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. Alcaraz and Sinner, honestly, like the hard part's can you do it for 15 years? They're just as good. Like Alcaraz's drop shot's the best drop shot in the history of tennis. Sinner's forehand is they're just unbelievable. They're both. I think this is the best they played. The Wimbledon match the final was one of the best matches in years. They're both playing better than they were then. So sorry, the French Open one, but they're both playing better. The women's one I like Anisimova. I think Sabalenka will win, but frankly, I don't like Sabalenka's odds because mentally she's so up and down with her heart on the sleeve does not describe it. She's so up and down that I think Anisimova, the odds are plus 180. And so that's just something where you only need Sabalenka to smash, not scream one time and you're like, oh my God, is the momentum shifting? And you're going to like the plus 180 and maybe you could get better odds than Sabalenka in the middle of the match. But I like Anisimova's odds better than Sabalenka.
All right.
There are very few players, basically you could count them on like one hand, who can match Sabalenka or even overpower her at times on the women's tour. And Anisimova is one of those people. And they played in the Wimbledon semifinal. Anisimova closed around 2-1, plus 250. And it was a coin flip match. And it was because Anisimova is able to take advantage of second serve returns. She's able to take the ball early and not, have to play defense against Sabalenka because you really can't. You get overpowered if you try to defend for too long against Arena. And I don't think Arena's playing as well as people think. Like she's in the final. She's kind of had a comfortable path here, but she hasn't played. She played one top 30 player in her path, and it was Jess Pegula, and it was a coin flip match last night. She got a really favorable draw. Didn't have to play her quarterfinal because of an injury. So I just don't think Sabalenka's form was that good coming in. And so I'm on Anisimova fully. And I think we could end up with 3 different American women winning Grand Slams this year with the Australian Open, Maddie Keys, Coco Gauff at the French, potentially Anisimova. I think it's like coin flipping.
I think that's a really good point, and I really advise everyone to take Dabbundo's advice in tennis because his barber is actually Carlos Alcaraz's brother who cut his hair.
Oh, wow. Is that true?
Yes.
Next week, I'm going to have a buzz cut.
Very nice. All right. We look forward to that. Heifetz, what did you say? Greatness rises on time? We're about 7 minutes late. So I don't know. We spit in the face of that. We pulled a Jalen Carter there today, but listen, let's sign off here. Great job, boys. That does it for our first Friday episode of the Ringer Gambling Show. We got renewed for one more Friday. I'm just saying it in the text here. That's great. So for Anthony Dabbundo and Danny Heifetz, I'm Sal. Saying so long and win big this weekend.